Cammy and Seti's games always start at Frenzy Fields. In this Duo Cash Cup final which they won, they were uncontested every single game. As it's such a large POI and quite spread out, Cammy opts to land towards the north while Seti takes the south, making sure they loot the POI and get max material as fast as possible. Their early game is very standard. They make sure to max out all of their material and taking extra time to gain every bit of metal they can. Despite being uncontested, they will still capture the flag to gain easy meds, weapons, but most importantly, gold. Cammy and Seti are the kings of finding every advantage, and throughout this video, I will show you just how strong some of the augments you probably thought were useless actually are. Being able to reroll multiple times is crucial for this strategy. Leaving Frenzy, their loadouts aren't too crazy, but I want to point out one thing. Cammy and Seti will always prioritize having one of them carry slap juices. They will carry them over every form of meds that aren't legendary slurps, and later on in the video, you will realize why. Dropping at an edge map POI, it's very important to get as much early damage as possible. Cammy and Seti knowing that Rezumi and Velo's teams are fighting over the springs gives them an easy chance for free surge damage. You'll notice despite hitting Velo for white damage and not seeing his teammate, they still do not push this fight. With another healthy duo so close by, even if they were to take out Velo, the chances of them being third-partied, especially with no siphon, is just too risky. Caches always spawn when third zone starts to close, and they are one of the strongest things in the game right now. As soon as they're about to appear, you need to be ready to move quickly. Despite Cammy getting to their cache first, Seti is not close enough to help him fend off an aggressive Akira, but luckily Seti finds another team's cache that they can now have for free. Every team's cache spawns at the same time, and there is one cache for every 2 teams. Just because yours that is marked may be far away, doesn't mean you can't find others and steal their loot. Always make sure to base them up in metal, as the cache will give you 200 in solos and 400 in duos. Seti tries to rotate and look for Surge but doesn't spot Flixie hiding in the bush. Luckily, he always prioritizes staying near extra meds, especially caches, that they can easily rotate back to, so this costs him nothing. While near your cache, you can leave yourself exposed, baiting teams to peek you to gain Surge and information, as even if they tag you, you lose nothing. Alternatively, if you don't have spare meds, if you have good map knowledge, you can always use the new slurp plans all around the map. Cammy and Seti abuse these new plans. In one game, I counted them using at least 13 slurp plans. They regenerate every 15 seconds and give you 25 health or shield to both of you. They will often run around on little over 100 health and shield, waiting to pop these plans to save as many meds as possible. A lot of the time, they don't even bother building, as they want people to shoot at them so they can take shots back, losing nothing in the process. In case you aren't sure, here is the location of every slurp plan on the map currently. Half zone shows, and Cammy and Seti are on a really nice dead side of zone. With all the techniques we've covered, Cammy and Seti are now almost 900 above Surge, meaning they don't have to worry about forcing any fights going into endgame. This is a fantastic spot to be in. They now only have to take fights that are guaranteed wins. After getting a refresh, you'll notice Cammy opts to carry a flare gun over the extra big pots. This is to gain as much information as possible while rotating in late game. With no mobility items, information is crucial, and he uses this to scout out ahead of them before moving. They make a nice easy rotate into the next zone, and because they already have Surge, they can position themselves on dead side of zone, and they push deep into the center of 7th zone. In every single game of this finals, Cammy and Seti choose to aggressively push deep into 7th zone, knowing no one can be there as zone has just opened up. It is one of the safest places to be endgame as long as you already have your Surge. By spreading out and using Cammy's flare gun, they control this entire half of zone, giving them so much space, information, and a free rotation when zone pulls north. Once his flare gun runs out, Cammy uses his saved augment, Wild Wasp weaponry, which may not sound like a lot, but carrying 2 extra items for free without taking a slot is very strong. He can now use these to zone his opponents and control their positioning. He will also gain 1 on every single kill in endgame. They have also recently been buffed to now do 15 damage a second and are now even stronger than stink grenades when used properly. Throughout this entire endgame, this duo will always pre-pop slap juices before their rotates. With no mobility, 60 seconds of constant sprinting can be the difference between a free rotate and death. Seti will often choose to elevate coming into 9th zone for a couple main reasons. It avoids congestion and threats from below, where often more aggressive teams are, and allows you to begin conditioning high ground to see if you can take it later. By staying elevated and being frontside, Seti puts Cammy in the perfect position to look back and find easy eliminations tarping straight at him. This kill also gives him a wild wasp jar due to the augment I talked about earlier, which he uses to almost get another free kill. After Seti recognizes zone pulls max, he wants to get him and Cammy to frontside as quickly as possible. They both pre-pop slaps, and using rotated ramps and sliding, they quickly make it to frontside, giving them time to look up at height and begin conditioning Teeny. Teeny responds quickly, and with little damage done, they decide to give it up for now. They both drop down, and for the first time this endgame, Cammy and Seti are on the backside of zone. They both pop slurps, tanking Storm for a few moments, which allows them to safely and silently flank onto high ground from behind, completely catching Teeny off guard. They secure the high ground, only having invested 2 slurps and 6 builds total. With legendary slurps, med mist, and floppers, one of the best ways to consistently take high ground in this season is waiting until high ground pushes into zone, wait in Storm, and mantle or quietly make your way on top of them. From this point, it's a very easy and standard high ground game. They're just constantly spraying to apply pressure on any team below them. Notice they are using flares to not only identify exactly where players are to spray, but also making sure no one is trying to make the same Storm play to flank and take their height now. In a no mobility, no siphon meta, it is very unlikely your duo games will go to long heal-offs. It is still always safe to save what white meds you have and prepare one of your teammates to play heal-off, but you need to use your white heals to make plays. Don't be afraid to play zone for a bit or invest them to get into a better position.